My game plan is to go in there, hot skip, right hand to the temple and a left hook to the body. Good night, Chris.
Yeah, I'd say I hate what he stands for, I hate who he is as a man, what he's chasing. Just him as a man personally, you know, for reasons that...
Honestly, I can't wait to smash his head in. You see April 26th? So to me.
Ahead of his highly anticipated bout with Chris Eubank Jr., Conor Benn has unveiled a deeply personal and shocking twist to their ongoing rivalry. Conor Benn is determined to knock out Chris Eubank Jr., making it clear that this fight isn't about legacy. It's strictly personal. Fueled by genuine animosity, Benn hasn't held back, launching pointed verbal jabs at Eubank Jr. and openly criticizing his behavior both in and out of the ring.
Well, listen, I don't want to knock him out for legacy reasons. I want to knock him out because it's personal and I think he's an idiot.
Meanwhile, Conor is pushing himself beyond his limits in preparation, leaving no stone unturned. He's been intensely focused on building his strength, determined to ensure that when he steps into the ring, Chris Eubank Jr. won't get a single opportunity to capitalize. This time, it's all or nothing. Observing his intense preparation, Eddie Hearn has expressed full confidence in Benn's performance, noting his relentless training schedule and unwavering determination. With no days off and a clear focus on delivering the best performance of his career, Hearn believes it's obvious. Benn is ready to smash Chris Eubank Jr. this time around.
He's just had the camp of dreams. Honestly, he's invested so heavily in that camp, and actually, like, you should never be afraid to make that kind of investment financially. I mean, especially if you're making a great payday. But not many people go to that level to make sure that it's perfect in every way. Food, sleep, strength, recovery, massage, like sparring, gym facilities, everything. And as an athlete, or in anything you do, if you've prepared like that, you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm ready. I couldn't have done anything more. Now I've got to go out there and enjoy myself and deliver.
Amir Khan also weighed in, pointing out how much heavier Conor Benn is looking ahead of the fight. He firmly asserted that Benn's all-in training approach is clearly adding size and power, suggesting that he's building himself into a much bigger force in the ring. Khan even hinted that Benn now appears significantly larger than Chris Eubank Jr., positioning him as a legitimate and serious threat.
One thing about Conor is that Conor's a heavy, he's like a heavy welterweight, you know what I mean? He's quite big, fills into the weight quite well. I think that'll be an amazing fight. That'll be big.
Moving on, Conor Benn, who's been outspoken about his heated rivalry with Chris Eubank Jr., isn't just preparing for the performance of a lifetime. He's also on a mission to dismantle the Eubank legacy. More eager than anyone to step into the ring, Benn is counting down the moments until he finally gets his shot at Eubank Jr., vowing to deliver a brutal statement and leave no doubt about who the better man is.
Oh, I can't wait to smash his f***ing head in. Honestly, I can't wait to smash his head in. You see April 26th? So to me. Yeah. He's in big trouble.
Through it all, Conor Benn hasn't forgotten the infamous egg slap delivered by Chris Eubank Jr. He called the act a display of complete nonsense and sheer idiocy, firmly dismissing it as childish provocation. Benn made it clear that every one of Eubank's antics will be paid for in full when they finally meet in the ring, promising a ruthless response once he gets his hands on him.
Yeah, listen, he's an idiot. You know, yeah, we all love a push and a shove. We all love a little, mind you, I've got a man standing behind you who loves a little push and shove. In fact, you know, got involved. Hey, Chisora, was it you who got glass or did you glass David? Oh, he got glassed, yeah. Well, he was on the receiving end. But ultimately, we all love a little push and a shove. But yeah, raising your hands to someone ain't the smartest idea. So yeah, it's become extremely more personal now, but yeah, if I see him, I'll get my hands on him.
Reflecting on his ongoing feud with Chris Eubank Jr., Conor Benn made it clear that things have escalated to a whole new level. He didn't hold back in expressing his genuine dislike for Eubank, stating that his actions only reinforce how much of a fool he believes him to be. Benn emphasized that there's nothing he respects or even remotely likes about Chris, and according to him, Eubank knows it all too well.
Yeah, I'd say I hate what he stands for, I hate who he is as a man, what he's chasing. Just him as a man personally, you know, for reasons that aren't public, personal reasons. between me and Chris that he's fully aware of as to why I completely dislike him.
While much has been made about the business side of this fight, Conor Benn emphasized that the rivalry runs far deeper than just hype. It's intensely personal, and that will never change. He pointed to the major personality clash between him and Chris Eubank Jr., rooted not just in their own animosity, but also in the legacy of their fathers. Looking ahead to April 26, Benn warned that the outcome will be nothing short of devastating when he finally gets his chance to settle the score in the ring.
A fight's a fight, ultimately. I mean, obviously there is interest with the history of our dads, mainly. Us being our father's sons. I mean, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, but I think the big personality clash, the controversy, the adversity, it sells, but it doesn't change, you know, the outcome come April 26 and what I want to do to him.
On the other hand, Chris Eubank Jr. shared his perspective, admitting that everything is riding on this fight. Calling it the biggest bout of his career, he acknowledged the immense pressure tied to the rivalry, the stakes, and the money involved. Eubank Jr. made it clear that losing to Conor Benn isn't an option, confessing that such a loss would take a serious toll on him mentally.
Everything is riding on this fight. This is the biggest fight of my career. The most amount of money, the most amount of pressure, the most amount of everything. Everything is riding on this. A loss would finish me. It would ruin me. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, a defeat would be devastating.
Acknowledging that the beef between him and Conor Benn is very real, Chris Eubank Jr. admitted he simply can't stomach the idea of losing this fight. He emphasized the weight of carrying his family's legacy, stating that he's training harder than ever with one clear goal in mind: to punish Conor Benn and make him pay in the ring.
Me and Conor real, and something that I wouldn't be able to stand, you know, the defeat of on a personal level. I have to uphold my father's legacy. Letting him down would probably hurt even more.
Meanwhile, this back and forth has only added to the hype surrounding the fight. While Conor Benn confidently declares that he's going to smash Chris Eubank Jr.'s head in the ring, Eubank Jr. remains unconvinced. He countered, insisting that Benn will ultimately run when it's time to face him, claiming the Brit won't have the courage to stand his ground when it counts.
I'm going to come in there and stick it on you from the get-go.
Good.
Straight away. I'm going to come out there hot skipping a big right hand to a big flipping head of yours.
I don't believe you.
Oh, you don't believe me?
No.
What would you believe then?
I don't believe
What do you believe
I
in?
think you're going to run for your life.
Oh, shut up.
Meanwhile, Conor Benn has given a glimpse into his game plan ahead of the fight. He revealed that his focus will be on a hot tempo right hand and a sharp left hook as his key weapons. Without giving too much away, Benn sarcastically added that this strategy will be more than enough to put Chris Eubank Jr. to sleep right there in the ring.
My game plan is to go in there, hot skip, right hand to the temple and a left hook to the body. Good night, Chris.
Sharing his thoughts on the rivalry, Duke McKenzie weighed in, emphasizing that despite the family feuds and personal clashes, the fight itself is what truly matters most. He pointed out that the intense buildup, fueled by their ongoing animosity, has generated massive hype, calling it a genuine box office spectacle and a thrilling piece of entertainment.
It is a fight that matters because obviously they're fighting for pride amongst anything else. You know, Eubank Benn is synonymous, obviously, because of their dads, and obviously this man had a part to play in that whole shake-up. So I mean, you know, Eubank Benn, it's brought a whole new audience to the sport of boxing, a whole new young audience to the sport of boxing. You know, you don't get a lot of young guys now talking about Benn Eubank seniors. They're talking about Benn Eubank juniors, and all the kids in my gym are absolutely sold on this. It's box office, it's entertainment, but it's entertainment of the highest order because these two are proper boxers.
While Eddie Hearn views Conor Benn as the bigger fighter compared to Chris Eubank Jr., Duke doesn't share this perspective. He pointed out that naturally Eubank Jr. is significantly larger than Benn. Discussing the dynamics of their rivalry and the variations in their fighting styles, Duke emphasized that in the end, all these factors will come together to create one thrilling high-stakes fight.
Well, he's naturally the bigger man, but what we have is a genuine middleweight stroke super middleweight against the career's best welterweight. It's only really the good and the great that can jump up through the weight divisions and still maintain your speed and your power. The question will have to be asked is, will Benn's power be enough to keep Eubank off him? these two are going to be like two stags going at it on fight night, and you know, it makes for a good fight.
Blasting Chris Eubank Jr., Conor Benn confidently declared that after their fight, he plans to retire following a victory over him. He also questioned why Eubank Jr. chose to fight for a middleweight title instead of aiming for a world title. Benn pointed out that his ambitions are far greater as he's focused on capturing multiple belts, while Eubank Jr. seems solely fixated on their personal rivalry.
When he loses, he has to retire. I don't understand why at this stage of his career he chooses to fight a welterweight over a world title. I can drop back down and go get my world title, no problem. I'll go and fight for the WBC world title, the WBA, the WBO. I think I'm top ranked, you know, top 5 in almost every governing body. But as for him, he's chasing one thing, and that's the difference between me and him.
Reflecting on the upcoming fight, Conor Benn emphasized that this is his world title fight, and he's determined to back up everything he's said. He asserted that by knocking out Chris Eubank Jr., he plans to put an end to their rivalry once and for all, adding that he's fully focused on delivering a brutal beating to Eubank Jr. this time around.
It's my world title fight. I'd rather this fight than any world title, for sure. I'd rather have his name on my record than any world title. Definitely. Because that's cemented. Like, you can't say nothing. You just got beat by a welterweight. Done. That's it, finished. That chapter closed.
Amid all the drama, Carl Froch also shared his thoughts, noting how people have been closely following Conor Benn's journey after his failed drug test and time away from boxing. Now everyone is eagerly waiting to see when he'll finally face Chris Eubank Jr. Froch also revealed that Eubank Jr. has been critical of Benn for previously failing to secure a boxing license properly, adding more fuel to their already heated rivalry.
Because I think he's been hard done to. He failed the drugs test, and he must hate it every time someone just says what I've just said. But he did, and that's all people are hanging on to. And Chris Eubank Jr. has really opened it up, and he's opened up the wound again. It's been 2 years since he's really been able to. He's not had a British Boxing Board of Control licence. He's had a couple of fights stateside, but he's not been able to get going with his career.
Sharing his thoughts, Steve Collins pointed out that Conor Benn is poised to follow in his father's footsteps, just as Nigel Benn did years ago. He emphasized that all Conor really needs is to land one big shot. According to Collins, in this fight, outsmarting Chris Eubank Jr. isn't the priority. It's that one decisive blow that will showcase Conor's dominance.
Well, Conor, you know, has got power. He needs to rough up Eubank, do what his dad done in the day, and land big shots. You know, he's not going to outbox him. He's not going to, you know, outsmart him. He's just going to have to land big shots. That's his route to success in this fight. It's not going to be easy. But that's how I see Conor winning: is landing big shots, and hurting and stopping Eubank. Eubank is clever. He's been at a good level. He's tough. So it's a hard shout. You know, if Conor lands the big shots, he could do it. If he doesn't,
the stage is set, the rivalry is real, and the countdown is on. Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. isn't just a fight, it's personal. Who's walking out victorious and who's getting left on the canvas? Drop your predictions in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Fight Night breakdowns, updates, and all the drama from inside and outside the ring. Hit that bell icon so you never miss a moment. This one's going to be fireworks.